correct. You're not going crazy. The real truth about anxiety and how to master it. The question nobody dares to ask. Let me ask you something that most people are too afraid to admit out loud. Have you ever felt like you're going crazy, but nobody can see it? Like your mind is racing, spinning stories about things that haven't even happened yet while your body feels like it's under attack. Tight chest, rapid heartbeat, shallow breath, but there's no actual threat, no visible danger. And worst of all, you're ashamed of it. You hide it. You try to pull yourself together. You force a smile. But deep down, you're exhausted, confused, scared. Everything you've been taught is wrong. You've read about anxiety. Maybe you've even been diagnosed with it. But what if I told you that everything you've been taught about anxiety is wrong? You've been taught that anxiety is a disorder, a flaw, a chemical imbalance, a personal weakness, something to fix, suppress, medicate, or hide. But what if anxiety isn't the enemy? What if it's not a malfunction, but a misfire survival mechanism gone rogue? The smoke alarm analogy you see, anxiety is not brokenness. It's a system that has become overly sensitive, like a smoke alarm that goes off every time you make toast. The alarm isn't evil. It's trying to protect you, but it's reacting to the wrong signals. This is scientific truth. This isn't just a poetic metaphor. It's the scientific and clinical truth confirmed by two of the most respected authorities on anxiety. Dr. Claire Weekes, a trailblazing Australian physician who revolutionized the treatment of panic and anxiety in the 1960s, who spent decades treating thousands of severely anxious patients. Dr. Edmund Bourne, a clinical psychologist whose anxiety and phobia workbook has been used by therapists worldwide for over 30 years, who mapped the territory of anxiety in practical research-based steps, and both of them working independently arrived at the same life-changing realization. You don't defeat anxiety by fighting it. You master anxiety by understanding how it works and breaking the cycles that feed it. The cycles that keep you stuck right now, you might be stuck in those exact cycles. You're afraid of your own physical sensations, your pounding heart, your short breath, your trembling hands. And that fear of fear creates a loop that spirals into panic. You avoid certain places or situations because they might trigger anxiety. And while avoidance gives you short-term relief, it costs you long-term freedom. Maybe you live in a state of constant worry, as if anticipating disaster might somehow prevent it. And every failed attempt to just calm down only reinforces the idea that you're out of control. The brutal truth, but here's the brutal truth, anxiety isn't what's ruining your life. Your reaction to anxiety is, and that's where everything changes. What this video is not just going to tell you to breathe or think positive. This is not about toxic positivity, fluffy self-help monologues. This is the hard truth backed by decades of clinical practice in neuroscience. The revolutionary insight: you can't cure anxiety by trying to get rid of it. You master anxiety by changing your relationship with it. You learn to stop fearing your sensations, rewire your thoughts, face what you've been avoiding, train your body and nervous system to stop reacting to false alarms. Who this is for. So if you've tried everything and nothing worked, been stuck in therapy, been stuck in avoidance, been stuck in your own mind, still waiting for the anxiety to magically go away, this is for you. By the end of this, you'll understand why anxiety stays, why most people never escape it, exactly what to do to finally reclaim your life, the truth you need to hear. You're not broken. You're not crazy. And this isn't your fault. What you're experiencing is a biological response, a powerful ancient survival system that has become hypersensitive. What most people don't understand, this is the part no one tells you. Most people think anxiety is in their head, but the reality is much deeper and far more physical than you realize. According to Dr. Claire Weekes, anxiety is not some vague emotional issue. It's a sensitized nervous system. The alarm system stuck on. That means your internal alarm system, the one designed to protect you from real danger, has been left stuck in the on position. Maybe it started after a trauma, a prolonged period of stress, a sudden illness, something you don't even consciously remember, but whatever the trigger was, your nervous system didn't reset. It kept firing. And now, even when there's no threat, your body reacts like you're under attack. Your heart races, your breath shortens, your muscles tighten, you might feel dizzy, shaky, nauseous, fight or flight gone wrong. These are not random symptoms. They are the fight or flight response, nature's way of preparing you to escape danger. But when the danger isn't real, when it's just a crowded room, a presentation, a text message left on read, this system becomes a prison. The second fear, and the worst part, you begin to fear the symptoms themselves. This is what Dr. Weekes called The second fear, not the original anxiety, but the terror of the physical sensations that come with it. You're not afraid of the supermarket. You're afraid of panicking in the supermarket. This is the trap. The three interconnected cycles. Edmund Bourne expands this even further by identifying the three interconnected cycles that keep anxiety alive. Cycle 1, the physiological cycle. Your body reacts with symptoms. Racing heart, tight chest, short breath. You interpret these sensations as dangerous, which triggers more adrenaline, which intensifies the symptoms. Round and round you go. It's not the initial feeling that traps you. It's the reaction to the feeling. Cycle 2, the cognitive cycle. Your mind creates catastrophic thoughts. What if I pass out? What if I can't breathe? What if I completely lose control? These thoughts amplify the fear response. And each time you survive a panic episode, instead of learning I handled it, your brain learns, that was close. Next time I won't be so lucky. Your brain becomes an expert at anticipating disaster. Cycle 3, the behavioral cycle. To avoid the feelings and the thoughts, you start avoiding the situations that trigger them. You stop going to certain places, doing certain things. You make your world smaller and smaller, believing that this will keep you safe. But what you're really teaching your brain is, those situations are dangerous. So the next time you try to face them, your anxiety doubles down. The tragic irony, and here's the tragic irony, most people only try to fix one of these. They breathe deeply to calm the body, but their mind is still running wild. Try positive thinking while avoiding every trigger. In real life, push themselves into feared situations while secretly tensing every muscle, white-knuckling their way through. That's why nothing works long-term. All three cycles feed each other. The cycles feed each other. And unless you break all three, physiological, cognitive, behavioral, you stay stuck. This is not your weakness. Let me make this clear. This is not your weakness. It's your biology. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's just firing at the wrong time in the wrong context, but you can retrain it. You can recalibrate the alarm. You can stop reacting to false threats like they're real. Why your current strategies aren't working, and that begins by understanding exactly why your current strategies aren't working. Because let me guess, you've already tried. You've tried fighting it, avoiding it, pretending it's not there, but nothing seems to stick. Why? The brutal truth about what you're doing wrong. Here's the brutal truth. Most of what you've been doing to fix your anxiety is actually feeding it. Let that sink in. You've been trying to regain control, calm down, escape the feeling, but your very attempts to control anxiety are the reason it keeps controlling you. It's not because you're weak or because your anxiety is too strong. It's because you've been playing by the wrong rules that no one taught you how to break until now. Mistake number one. Fighting the physical sensations. When you feel anxiety in your body, your chest tightens, your heart pounds, your breath shortens. What do? You panic, you tense up. You try to slow your heartbeat by force, stretch your muscles, gasp for air, tell yourself over and over, I need to calm down. But here's what's really happening behind the scenes. Your brain interprets all of that as proof that something is terribly wrong. You're sending the signal, this is an emergency, this must be stopped. And so your body releases more adrenaline. The anxiety spikes. You spiral. The quicksand effect. Claire Weeks called this second fear, the fear of the fear itself. It's not the first wave of anxiety that destroys you. It's your frantic struggle to make it stop that pulls you under. Fighting anxiety is like sinking into quicksand. The harder you struggle, the faster you drown. Mistake number 12. Avoidance. Let's say you have a panic attack in a grocery store. The next time you avoid the store, your anxiety goes down. Instant relief. Sounds logical, right? But what you just taught your brain is that place was dangerous. Avoidance saved me. So now your brain believes the grocery store is a real threat. And next time, just thinking about going triggers anxiety. So you avoid it again and again until the fear spreads. First it was the grocery store, then the pharmacy, then driving, then leaving the house at all. Your world shrinks, but your anxiety doesn't. The hidden cost avoidance works like a painkiller with a hidden cost. It numbs the fear now, but makes the fear bigger later. It's a trap. Every time you run from anxiety, you feed the lie that you're not capable of handling it. Mistake number 3, seeking constant reassurance. You ask others, am I okay? Do you think something bad will happen? Are you sure I won't faint or lose control? And for a moment, their answers soothe you, but it doesn't last, because deep down, you don't trust yourself. You've outsourced your safety to someone else's voice, and now you need that voice again and again until reassurance becomes an addiction. What you think is calming your anxiety is actually reinforcing the core fear. I can't trust my own body. I can't trust my own mind. Mistake. Number for force positive thinking, you've heard it 1,000 times. Just think positive, manifest calm, replace every negative thought with a positive one. But if you're in the grip of anxiety and you say to yourself, I'm totally fine, everything will be perfect, your mind screams back, liar, because you don't believe it. Your body is on fire and you're trying to smother it with fake sunshine. That doesn't soothe you. It creates cognitive dissonance, and that makes anxiety worse. What actually works, Edmund Bourne was clear on this. Real recovery doesn't come from fake optimism. It comes from challenging distorted thoughts with evidence-facing fears, not bypassing them, realistic, grounded thinking, not empty affirmations, the pattern. So here's what you need to understand. The more you fight the sensations, the more intense they become, the more you avoid triggers. The more powerful they grow, the more you chase reassurance, the more dependent you become, the more you force positivity. The more disconnected you feel, anxiety isn't healed through resistance. It's healed through redirection, through smarter responses, not stronger ones. The protocol that actually works, you've been taught to fear your anxiety, to escape it, silence it, numb it. But no one taught you how to face it properly. Not through force, not through denial, but through mastery. This is a system of protocol backed by decades of clinical evidence developed by people who spent their lives in the trenches with the most severe anxiety sufferers. And it works not by suppressing anxiety, but by retraining your nervous system, reshaping your mind, reclaiming your freedom, the body. Claire Weekes' revolutionary method, let's begin with the body because that's where anxiety first hits. Claire Weekes developed a revolutionary method for breaking the physiological cycle. Face, accept, float, let time pass. Sounds simple. It is. But it's not easy. It requires everything you've been avoiding. 1. Face this means to turn toward the symptoms, not away from them. When your heart races, when your breath shortens, when your hands tremble, you do not run. You observe. You say, there's my anxiety. This is adrenaline. I recognize it. You stop treating it like an invader and start treating it like a signal. This single shift already begins to deactivate the alarm. 2. Acceptance is the opposite of resistance. Most people say, I accept this while still tensing every muscle, praying it ends quickly. That's not acceptance. That's passive panic. True acceptance means letting the sensations exist without trying to push them away. This is uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. You allow the wave to rise without fighting it. And in that space, your nervous system begins to learn. This isn't a threat. 3. Float instead of bracing, you relax deliberately. You drop your shoulders, you unclench your jaw, you let go of your fists. You imagine yourself floating through the sensation like drifting in water, carried by the current instead of battling against it. The fight feeds anxiety. Floating dissolves it. 4. Let time pass, no panic lasts forever. None. The intensity peaks and then fades. Every single time. But most people never get to feel that decline because they interrupt it with fear, escape, desperate efforts to control. When you stop interfering, the wave passes, your nervous system recalibrates, and with every repetition it becomes easier. The mind, cognitive restructuring. Now let's address the mind. Dr. Edmund Bourne focused on the cognitive cycle, the storm of catastrophic thoughts that fuel anxiety. He taught a process called cognitive restructuring, how it works when an anxious thought arises. I'm going to faint, I'll have a panic attack, I can't handle this. You don't just slap a positive sticker on it, you interrogate it. You ask, what real evidence supports this thought? What evidence contradicts it? Am I mistaking possibility for probability? What's the actual likelihood this will happen? If the worst happens, could I still survive it? What would a compassionate friend say about this? By asking these questions, you weaken the emotional grip of the thought. You create distance. You rewire your brain to stop reacting as if your fears are facts. Over time, this becomes automatic. You no longer accept every anxious whisper as truth. You become the gatekeeper of your mind. Worry Time Bourne also introduced Worry Time, a practice where you contain your anxiety instead of letting it bleed into every corner of your day. Set aside 20 minutes daily to write down every worry. For each, ask, can I do something about this right now? If yes, take action. If no, let it go. When intrusive worries appear outside your worry time, you say, not now, I'll deal with you later. This trains your mind to stop obsessing 24/7 and gives you back control over your mental bandwidth. The behavior, gradual exposure, and then there's the behavior, the habits that keep you stuck. Avoidance is the oxygen of anxiety. To break it, you need gradual exposure. That means systematically doing the things you fear without escaping, without using safety behaviors like carrying water, always sitting near exits, or texting someone during the event. You don't do this to tough it out. You do it to teach your brain, this isn't dangerous, I can survive this. How to do exposure: start small. Pick a feared situation that triggers mild to moderate anxiety. Stay in it. Don't leave until your anxiety drops while you're still there. That's the key. If you escape at the peak, you reinforce the fear. But if you stay and your anxiety fades, your brain learns, that wasn't dangerous, I handled it. Repeat over and over, week after week. Go up your hierarchy. Push your edge. Expose. Don't avoid. Do this with weeks floating technique and you'll turn every exposure into a lesson for your nervous system. It's safe to feel discomfort. I don't need to escape myself. Breaking all 3 cycles. This is how you break the 3 cycles. This is how you retrain your body, rewire your mind, reclaim your life. What about panic attacks? But what about the worst case scenario? What if you're not just anxious, but hit with a full-blown panic attack? The truth about panic, if you've ever experienced a full-blown panic attack, you know this. It's not just fear, it's terror. Pure and raw, exploding through your body like a lightning strike. Your heart pounds so hard, you're convinced it'll stop. Your breath shortens to the point you're gasping, the room spins, you feel disconnected from reality. Maybe you think you're about to pass out, die, or go insane. But here's the unshakable truth. No one has ever died from a panic attack. No one has ever gone insane from it. No one has lost their mind or lost control. What you're feeling is intense but not dangerous. Dr. Weeks' method for panic. Dr. Claire Weeks understood this better than anyone. Her method for navigating a panic attack isn't just effective, it's revolutionary. It doesn't involve grounding games, tapping, mental distraction. It's not about escaping the panic. It's about walking through it with your head held high and your body soft, showing your nervous system the truth. You are safe. Step 1, recognize what's happening, name it. This is a panic attack, not a heart attack, not a breakdown, not a death sentence, just a nervous system overfiring, just adrenaline, just a false alarm. This simple acknowledgement immediately activates your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, and begins to counteract the panic loop. Step 2, don't fight it. This is where most people lose control. They resist, they plead, they try to stop it with force. That's like pouring gasoline on fire. Weeks was adamant. The more you fight the sensations, the more you feed them. Panic thrives on resistance. Instead, allow. You say to yourself, let it come, let the fear come. I will not run from it. I will not shrink. I will not resist. Step 3, float. That same principle from before applies here more than ever. You soften. You release tension. You allow the wave of fear to pass through you, not because you're helpless, but because you are finally in control enough to stop fighting. Step 4, breathe gently. Forget about forcing deep breaths. That often backfires. Instead, focus on extending the exhale. 4 seconds in through your nose, 6 seconds out through your mouth, slow, even, patient. It's not about eliminating the symptoms. It's about giving your body the signal. We are not in danger. Step 5, stay where you are unless you're in actual danger. Do not flee. This is vital. When you run from the location where panic strikes, whether it's a car, a room, a store, you reinforce the belief that that place is unsafe. So you must stay. You may pace slowly, sit down, continue what you were doing, but you must not escape. Every second you stay, even while your body screams, or retraining your brain. This place is safe. I am safe. Step 6, keep going gently, softly, bravely. If you're walking, keep walking slowly. If you're talking, keep speaking. If you're working, stay with the task. Don't freeze. Don't run. Don't perform rituals to make it stop. Let it burn out on its own, because it will. The panic always passes. Weeks often said, the panic passes, it always passes. You have survived 100% of your past panic attacks. This one is no different, and she was right. Panic only has power when you believe it's dangerous. When you stop running, you stop giving it oxygen. You rob it of its illusion. After the attack, but once it passes, what then? Most people make one critical mistake. They begin to fear the return of panic. They walk away thinking, that was horrible. What if it happens again? That thought alone can bring it back. This is the second fear, again, fear of the next panic attack. So after the episode, you must treat it with nonchalance. You say, it happened, it passed. If it comes again, I'll handle it the same way. And then you move on. You must return to the same place where it happened as soon as possible. You must prove to your brain, that you are not afraid of it happening again. That is how you truly cut the cycle. The long-term result over time, when your brain stops seeing panic as a life-threatening event, the attacks reduce in intensity and frequency. Eventually, they stop altogether, not because you avoided them, but because you mastered them. You don't beat panic by becoming stronger. This is what no one tells you. You don't beat panic by becoming stronger. You beat it by becoming softer. The lifestyle foundation, but if you want lasting transformation, you can't stop here. What you do during an attack is crucial. But the real victory happens in the spaces between the attacks and your daily choices, in how you care for your body, in the foundations you build that make you resilient, not reactive. You can't build on sand. You can use all the techniques in the world. Face, accept, float, cognitive restructuring, exposure therapy, but if your lifestyle is wrecking your nervous system, you're building a house on sand. Let's be blunt. You cannot master anxiety while living a life that constantly inflames it. Your daily habits either prime your brain for calm or wire it for chaos. There is no neutral ground. The nervous system as a sponge. Think of it this way. Your nervous system is like a sponge. If it's soaked with adrenaline, cortisol, poor sleep, blood sugar, crashes, overstimulation, it's going to be hypersensitive to even minor stress. On the other hand, if it's bathed in physical stability, rhythmic breathing, restorative sleep, mindful presence, it can handle life without overreacting. You don't just cope with anxiety. You prevent it by shaping the terrain it grows in. The lifestyle pillars. 1. Exercise. Dr. Edmund Bourne was unequivocal. Consistent physical activity is one of the most powerful anti-anxiety tools available. Study after study shows that moderate aerobic exercise like brisk walking, swimming, dancing, or cycling reduces anxiety as effectively as medication for many people. Why? Because movement metabolizes excess adrenaline and cortisol, increases GABA, calming neurotransmitter, enhances serotonin levels, builds your brain's resilience, and perhaps even more importantly, exercise becomes a visceral lesson to your body. A racing heart isn't danger, it's just exertion. This retrains your interpretation of bodily sensations, turning triggers into neutrality. Bourne recommends 20-30 minutes 4 or 5 times per week, not perfection. Consistency. 2. Sleep hygiene. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity. Your brain cannot regulate anxiety without deep, consistent rest. Less than 7 hours regularly, you're operating on an overstimulated, depleted nervous system that sees threats everywhere. Fix your sleep. No blue light 60 minutes before bed. Make your room cool, 18-20 degrees C. Pitch black and quiet. Same bedtime and wake time even on weekends. Cut caffeine by noon. Eliminate alcohol. If you're struggling with anxiety, it disrupts sleep and causes anxiety spikes the next day. Sleep is sacred. Treat it like your most important medication. 3. Nutrition. You wouldn't fuel a Ferrari with garbage and expect it to run well. Yet most people with anxiety live on coffee, sugar, processed carbs, alcohol, all of which destabilize your mood, spike your adrenaline, and exhaust your adrenals. Avoid caffeine, mimics anxiety symptoms. Refined sugars and simple carbs create blood sugar spikes and crashes that mimic panic. Alcohol rebounds with anxiety 6-12 hours later. Add protein with every meal, stabilizes blood sugar. Magnesium-rich foods, spinach, almonds, dark chocolate, natural relaxant. Omega-3s, fatty fish, flaxseed, anti-inflammatory, crucial for brain health. Hydration. Even mild dehydration increases cortisol. 4. Breath training. You don't wait until you're panicking to learn how to breathe. You train your breath daily so that when anxiety hits, your body already knows what to do. Diaphragmatic breathing. 1 hand on chest, 1 on belly. Breathe in through nose for 4 or 5 seconds. Belly should rise, not chest. Exhale through mouth for 6-7 seconds. Pause for 2 seconds. Repeat for 10 minutes, once or twice daily. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest, and stimulates the vagus nerve or internal calm switch. This isn't woo-woo, it's physiology. 5. Mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness isn't about emptying your mind. It's about learning to observe your thoughts without getting dragged into them. 10-20 minutes a day of focus, non-judgmental attention on your breath, your sensations. A single anchor point is enough to retrain your brain away from rumination. MRI scans show that consistent mindfulness practice literally changes your brain, shrinking the fear center, amygdala, strengthening the prefrontal cortex, rational control. You become less reactive, more aware, less hijacked by automatic loops. Anxiety thrives in a mind that's always in the future. Mindfulness pulls you back into the only place where change is possible. This moment. The result: layer all of this exercise, sleep, nutrition, breath work, and mindfulness, and what do you get? A nervous system that no longer flinches at life. You reduce the baseline. You create margin. You shift from constant reactivity to calm responsiveness. What about medication? But sometimes, despite all of this, the anxiety is too overwhelming. You can't function. You can't begin to apply the tools. You feel paralyzed. That's when you might wonder, is it time for medication? The truth about medication: you've probably heard both extremes. Medication is a crutch, just take the pill and you'll be fine, but reality lives in the gray. When it comes to anxiety, medication is neither a cure-all nor a cop-out. It's a tool. And like any tool, its value depends on how, why, and when it's used. What medication can and cannot do: first, understand this. Medication doesn't heal anxiety. It doesn't rewire the cycles: physiological, cognitive, behavioral. What it can do is lower the intensity just enough so that you're able to actually apply the tools that create real long-term change. The research Dr. Edmund Bourne was very clear: behavioral and cognitive therapy alone, 60–70% success rate; medication alone, 50–60%, with higher relapse rates once stopped. Combine both, 75–80% success rate with better long-term outcomes. Why? Because meds can lower the noise while you do the real work of restructuring your nervous system and your life. When to consider medication: when your anxiety is so intense you can't function, when you're unable to even begin exposure practices because the fear is paralyzing, when panic attacks are daily, relentless, and unmanageable, when you've spent months applying techniques consistently with little or no progress, when anxiety coexists with severe depression and you're in a state of collapse. These are not signs of weakness. They're signs that your nervous system is overloaded. Just like a broken leg needs a cast before rehab, your brain may need support before it can learn to stand on its own again. The bottom line: medication can be a bridge, but never the whole solution. It can lower the volume, but you still have to retrain the music. It's not a magic bullet, and it's definitely not a substitute for exposure, cognitive work, lifestyle recalibration, as Bourne puts it. Medication may quiet the symptoms, but lasting recovery comes from behavioral change. Use it wisely. If you choose to explore this path, do it with intention. Find a psychiatrist who specializes in anxiety, ask questions, track side effects, monitor your progress. Use the stability medication provides to build real habits that will outlast the drug when the time is right. Taper off slowly and strategically. This is a partnership between science, self-awareness, and persistence. You're no longer powerless, and now, here's what matters most: you've come this far. You've learned what anxiety really is, why your strategies weren't working, the 3 cycles that feed it, how to interrupt them, how to face panic without fear when medication makes sense. And when it doesn't, you're no longer powerless. You're no longer in the dark. The final truth: you're not broken. You're not fragile. You're a nervous system that's learning to recalibrate. What part of this hit you the hardest? What truth did you need to hear today? What will you do differently now that you understand the real mechanics behind anxiety? Because here's what changes everything: anxiety isn't your enemy. Your relationship with anxiety is. And once you stop fighting it, once you stop running from it, once you learn to face it, accept it, float through it, and let time pass, something remarkable happens. The alarm system recalibrates. The fear loses its grip. The cycles break. And you discover that you were never broken. You were just never taught how this system actually works. Now you know. And knowing changes everything.